Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Art Whisper 88. Now this is Strathmore watercolor paper. It comes in a pad and it is the 300 series and it's considered as kind of a student grade, and even in the description on the Strathmore website, it says that it's good for students and experiments, like if you want to do practice. I think it's a very good paper. It's really a step above copy paper, that's for sure. And this is what I would like you to look at. It says here, acid-free, heavyweight, for mastering techniques with wet media. Now, the fact that it's acid-free is a big plus. So every time you buy paper, please make sure that it's acid-free, which means that it's going to last longer. Because acid causes the paper to deteriorate over time, and it eventually will just fall apart. And that is true for cheaper paper, like newsprint, paper bags, some cardboard boxes, etc. So if you have an acid-free indication here, it means that it was treated to last. So make sure that the papers you buy are acid-free. So anyway, this is 11 by 15. And I think at the time that I bought this, it was something like $12. I'll put the link in the description box below. Now, this is not a paid advertising. I'm just showing you different kinds of paper that you can use as a step up from copy paper. So the size of the paper today is 11 by 15 inches. And my plate today is an 8 by 10. So what I will do, since I'm doing a vertical format, what I usually do is take the middle part, fold this. Now you're not going to hurt the gel plate by folding it. Just fold it, find the middle, and then put a tick mark with your Sharpie pen or Posca pen. And this will tell you that this is the center line. And then what I will do is take my paper, now since this is 11 by 15, I will get the measurement of half of 11. Now half of 11 is 5.5. And this is where basic math comes in. So 5.5 is half of 11. Now I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to stack these like a deck of cards. Stagger them like a step. Okay, so I've stacked these like a deck of cards. And this is the tick mark, which marks the middle of 11, which is 5.5. And I just repeat that with my ruler. I just repeat the 5.5 mark. So what I want to make sure is that that middle point coincides with the middle of this plate. This is a way where I make sure that the image is centered on the paper. So that's my way of doing registration. Okay. Now, I know there are many artists who don't care that the image is not centered, but I think you should know how to do it the right way if you want to give it as a gift or sell your artwork. You might as well make it look as professional and as presentable as possible. So now that I have the center mark on the center line, now I will decide how high I want the image to be. So this time I will just eyeball this and lower my top bar like so. So this way my image will be where I want it to be. 1.5 on the left, 1.5 on the right. Let's see what we got. It's 2 inches on the top, 2.5 inches on the bottom. So now that I have my registration set up, I can keep printing and the image will always be where I want it to be. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, I will start inking the plate. Okay, now unlike the previous video where I limited my color palette to like 3 or 4 colors, I'm going to be a little more generous this time and use lots of colors for the first layer. This is cadmium yellow deep. And this is Lukas cadmium red light. This is Nova Color Phthalo Turquoise. Now I'm not too pleased with the delivery method in this jar, but that's how it came, so I have to make do. So I much prefer the squeeze tubes, which is more convenient. Some lime green. This is really a colorful piece. Okay, and I have to keep in mind that this is a very small plate and you really do not need too much color or too much paint. And I'm using a baby brayer. This is the smallest brayer that I've come across. I think it's 1.25 inches. And this way I can define the spaces of color. So what I want to do is create a very colorful background as a first layer, and then follow up with something neutral like black or white. Okay. Let me just clean up this edge. Just careful not to have too much paint on the edges, so I don't want the edges to be messy. And I just had to lay a piece of paper here on the right side because there's a glare from the lights. Now I will put my marks as usual. So here's the tick mark, and I'm going to carefully lay this down. Now another thing about this Strathmore 300, one side is rough and the other side is a little smoother. I'm using the smooth side this time. Okay, I will leave this on for about 5 minutes. It's been about 5 minutes. Let's see what we have here. Very cool. I like that. It's a very painterly image. It has a very nice ghost print left, so let me try to recover that. I'm going to use some hot pink by watercolor. It's a little messy. It's a little cadmium red light. And some cobalt blue. Now Nova Color is a little more heavy bodied, so it is not as watery as acrylic. So the effect is going to be very different. Again, I'm going to clean up the edge. Now, since I'm trying to capture a ghost print, I will leave this on a little bit longer, maybe 5-6 minutes or so. Okay, let's see what we have here. Pretty wild. I like that. The edges are imperfect, but that's okay. I can remedy that later, but I do like the color combination. It's very painterly for a very small piece. I have to say, it's pretty powerful. Okay, let me just keep going. This is sky blue light. So I'm really mixing brands here. Now, since it's a very small piece of paper, it's slippery, so I just have to be a little careful when I apply pressure. But I do want the ghost print to transfer, so I'm applying a good amount of pressure on the paper. Okay. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. Like that. Okay, it's still too good to waste. I'm going to try to recover this. I'm going to try phthalo green. It's interesting that the different colors have different viscosity. And some paints are more viscous than others. This is a gorgeous color though, I like it a lot. Over 5 minutes. Let's see what we have here. I hope the paper doesn't tear. It's really stuck on there. Very cool. So I will air dry all 4 pieces and then move on to the next step. Okay, everybody, here is the second portion of this video. Now I have here my scraps of tissue paper and copy paper, and I will proceed to assemble some collage. Now I want to address this ragged edge here. Again, I'm using my Mod Podge. I'm just going to add a few more marks. Okay, that's it for the first piece. There is piece number 2. Okay, that's the last piece. So I will air dry all of these and recap. Okay, this is my favorite part of this video, where I get to show you the finished product. Here is a close-up. This is the first piece. As you can see, it's a very painterly approach. It's piece number 1. Here's a second piece. As you can see here, this is the tissue paper. Now in this case, you can still see the traces of the white paper even after it's mounted. But it adds some texture, which I like. So that is piece number 2. And here's the third piece. And this is the last one. Now the texture of this one looks almost like oil paint on canvas. That's because of the texture of the cold press paper. I think this last one is my favorite. Okay. Let me see if I can stack them so you can see the comparison. So I think these make a nice set. They have complementary images. I hope you liked this video. It was a lot of fun to do these pieces. And please check out artwhisper88.com. Now these pieces are for sale, and the proceeds help to keep this channel going. Thank you so much, and I do hope to see you next time.